this. But again, what you're seeing here is that you're using multiple radio resources. You're using 3 independent radio systems. While it may work in many cases, you may also need to combine these into a single radio system. So you have a system where you have a single emergency dispatch center and a single radio system, which then has compartmentalized or separate groups made for fire, a separate group for ambulance, but that's all using a single radio system, which is called as a government radio network. Many countries have implemented a GRN concept, where you have a radio which not only you can use for these, you can also use for other government services like civil services or flood forecasting, or for sewage maintenance or other municipal services, etc. So it could become as a resource of the city or the county, and therefore manage all the requirements of that particular thing. Now, when we look at the radio systems, it needs many frequencies, and when we need many frequencies, the frequencies are very limited. They are very scarce resource. Therefore, it's very important that these frequency usage is minimized, and that's where we get into the concept of trunking. Trunking basically allows you to share the number of frequency resources, and therefore allows you to use minimum number of resources when you need various multiple radio channels. It's very important. Trunking concept has been used in many areas. You see on the airports, or you see in a railway line, at the railway station you have 20, 30 platform lines, and finally they all convert into 3, 4 lines. So that's what is called as the trunking principle. Even in the immigration, you're seeing there's a big line, and finally you link into 3 or 4 counters. So that's the principle of trunking. It's very effectively used in radio communication. For example, if you take in a trunking conventional system, the resources are pre-assigned. That means, let's say ambulance has separate frequency channel, the police car has a separate frequency channel, and the fire brigade would have a separate channel, etc., etc. And that way you are not using the channel when it is not being used. So if you are having, let's say, 10 frequencies allocated to the police personnel, and they're using only 4, so you're wasting those 6 channels at some point of time. In a trunking system, what we do is the resources are allocated automatically depending on the need. So the moment the fire person needs a channel, it gets automatically allocated. The moment you need a ground person need, the frequency can be allocated. That way you can reduce the number of frequencies that are needed for managing the radio resources. So trunk radios have become very common. So and today most of the police and emergency services have shifted from the conventional two-way radio system to the trunk two-way radio system because of the limitation of the number of frequencies that are available. For a trunking system to work effectively, there are basically 2 key assumptions. One, it's statistically improbable that many users will want to make the call at the same time. So that's why you have staggered of time, and therefore you are able to share those resources. And most of the conversations are short time, and you need that channel only for duration of that, and immediately after that you can release that channel. So the system will work as long as both of these principles are very sacrosanct. People don't use the channel continuously, and then everybody doesn't want to talk at the same time. Most of the telephone service or the cellular service is based on these assumptions. But the problem occurs when you have a disaster or you have a natural event. Everybody wants to call at the same time, and that will immediately choke your public telecom network. The emergency communication or two-way radio systems are designed for that. Two-way communication is designed in such a way that they are able to take that load all the time. They are designed for that kind of a for the capacity. So therefore, private system users, the police and the fire, they don't talk for long, they just send the message that is required. Therefore, the trunking system works very effectively in a emergency situation or in a police environment. But same when it is used in a mobile server environment, causes a complete jam in case a major event occurs or anything like if you are sending so many SMS on a particular day, you will see so much delay that is happening. Never happens in a two-way radio system. Two-way radio system works instantaneously. The moment you push, you get a resource. You don't have to wait for the resource to be given. If you have to wait, then it's not a two-way radio system, not a design two-way. You can also nowadays have a transportable or mobile two-way radio system. So instead of having a fixed repeater, you could have that repeater in a mobile vehicle so that you could immediately deploy in any areas. You just take that vehicle there and park it there, and therefore you can immediately deploy a mobile single-site conventional system or even trunking system straight away. Of course, you have to make sure that you have the necessary spectrum resource that is needed in that area, and you have the power availability, etc. So those are things that you need to plan when you plan for a transportable, but the transport systems have been implemented and they are very extensively available today for use in emergency situations. There is also a big issue of analog versus digital. Most of the police forces were initially having analog systems, but they're all changing over now to digital because first of all, the analog voice, when it is transmitted, it is not that clear because of the interference and because of the noise and other things. And digital voice, when it's converted from analog to digital, it becomes very clear. So when you receive a message, you receive 100% clear message. Analog is still cheaper, but because of the benefits of digital, most police forces around the world have changed over or are already changing over to the digital transmission and using digital standards, and I'll talk about those standards shortly. There are some of the very important benefits of why people have shifted over to digital. First, of course, the spectrum efficiency. Most important is the resource that they have limited is the spectrum. Digital has the advantage of putting many more channels into the same frequency band, and therefore it's very spectrum efficient. For example, one radio channel in an analog world would use only one voice for one voice, but in a digital you could use the same one single channel for up to 4 channels, or in some cases even 6 channels. So having a digital voice, it makes it very, very spectrally efficient, and therefore it's important that police forces change over from analog to digital. The other benefit is the voice privacy. Analog voice anybody can listen to with a very simple radio. Even with a normal FM radio you could listen to. While digital provides you a basic voice privacy. Even without any secrecy, etc., it becomes like a voice that nobody can listen to on a normal radio. You need a very sophisticated receiver to listen to a digital voice. So that's, and also you could do more stronger encryption on a digital voice than you can do on an analog voice. So it's very important to make sure that the analog systems are converted into the digital systems to provide you clarity of voice, spectrum efficiency, and voice privacy. So we now understand what is a basic two-way radio system. I am not going into details of the multi-cast, single cast, and etc. But I will shift over to what are the standards, what are the standardized two-way radio systems. Because standards really make things simpler. They make it replaceable. They reduce the cost. They provide you interoperability within networks, etc. So it's very important to use a standard-based equipment rather than an individual designer based equipment. So a standard is a very important, and I will talk about some of the important standards in two-way radio. Actually, two-way radio started sometimes in 30s as analog conventional, and then the trunk radio came, and then in 90s you have a digital trunk radio started coming, and there are a number of digital trunk standards that have been prevalent. They have been adopted by various standards bodies. Three important standards, which are the open standards for digital radio today, are one, APCO RP25. It's been approved by the Association of Public Safety Communication Officers of the US. It's a North American standard. It's been adopted by Telecom Industry Association and endorsed by ANSI. So it's a very, even though it's an American standard, it's being used around the world. Most countries have P25 requirements. And it's a very simple, it's a lot of advantages that I will talk about. The other standard, which is called TETRA, it stands for Terrestrial Trunk Radio. It's a European standard. It's been approved by the European Telecom Standards Institute, ETSI. So there is an ETSI standard called TETRA, and then there is a P25. There is also a new standard that has come up recently called the DMR, which is also approved by the ETSI standard. But it is still not available as a trunk standard. It is more for conventional two-way radio digital standards. So if you have a conventional system you want to convert to digital, you can use the DMR XC standard. So those are the three open standards which are endorsed by the ITU, and these are very well recognized within the various ITU technologies. They all have same objectives, almost similar objectives: spectrum efficiencies, features, conformance to laid-down standards, so you could use different radios on the network, have multiple manufacturers, and have long lives. All this is very well documented. They all work in different environments, multiple spectrum bands. APCO, for example, can work in VHF, UHF, or 800. TETRA can work in UHF as well as in 800, 350 now also. There is also one of the other requirements that many of these standards have is the direct mode. Many times the infrastructure is not available, and you need the officers need to talk to each other. If the tower is not available or the backup is not available, the direct mode allows the radios to talk to each other and provide you basic connectivity even when the infrastructure is not there. P25 actually has been specifically developed for public safety interoperability, and TETRA was developed more as a unified two-way communication across Europe. And the DMR was developed to replace the analog professional two-way radios. So each have been developed for different markets, for different requirements, but end of the day, all meet the basic two-way radio requirements for digital standards. APCO P25 is basically driven by a user because it was entirely driven by the US police forces. So they were the one who wrote the standard, they were the one who defined the requirements and the feature set. It's an open digital standard. Backward compatibility with analog was very important for the police because the number of police users continue to have analog. So it has backward compatibility with analog. Very flexible architecture, and two features that make it different from TETRA is that this has a higher power. It can go to high power, while TETRA is still limited in power. Many systems are allowed, have been deployed, and I think over 50 countries in the world use P25 standard.